By far the most common question that I get asked is how many bikes do I have? Especially when you consider that a lot of people think that I'm like a social media influencer sponsored athlete or whatever. I'm not an athlete. I don't know why people think that. Today, I'm gonna go through every bike that I have. Like literally every single one of them. We're gonna do an MSRP of what they would cost if they were new, because let's be honest, the used bike market is, in shambles. Like this is probably only worth like 10 bucks nowadays, realistically. So we're gonna go through that right now. Let's do it. So a lot of these bikes you guys have already seen in videos, but there's gonna be a lot that I've never shown before. And we're gonna do this in categories. And the very first category is e-bikes. So this right here, my Turbo Levo, is by far the most common bike you guys see in the videos, and that's because it's the bike that I ride the most out of any of them. I mean, let's be honest, I love e-bikes. This thing is a beast, and for the most part, I've kept this thing basically stock other than a couple things. Probably the most noticeable upgrade that I've actually done to this bike is the fork. Generally, this thing comes in 160, 150 mils of travel, but I upgraded to the Marzocchi 170 mil fork up front, and honestly, the white just looks super sick. I love the white and the yellow. I think it looks awesome. If you were to buy this thing brand new when it was still on sale, it would cost about $10,000. Up next is another Turbo Levo, except this one, as you can tell because it's a little bit smaller, is my brother Dersey's bike. He's behind the camera right now. And the main difference between this and mine is look at how disgusting this thing is. I mean, absolutely just appalling. You would look at this bike and think this is taken care of by Sasquatch. So just saying, he's behind the camera giving me some evil eyes right now. So my brother's kept this thing basically completely stocked. This is essentially how you would get it if you were to buy it from factory. The only upgrade he's done is to the bar and stem, because honestly, who keeps factory bar and stem combos? Like what are you doing? He's got a race face stem on here, which is purple, which doesn't match with anything on the bike, but that's okay. That's how you know you're a good rider. And then the other thing is he's got the Tactic bars up top. Shout out to Tactic. That's my buddy Enzo's company. Go check them out. If you were to get this thing from factory, same as the last one, $10,000. So now this is by far the most expensive and nicest bike that we have. It is what I would consider to be the dream build. It's the Levo SL. When we got this bike, it didn't look like this. It was very, very stock. Didn't have the factory suspension, didn't have the wheels, didn't have anything. We had upgraded this thing to the max. MSRP was $8,000, but we've added a ton of upgrades to this thing. So if we were to tally all of it up, we're looking in the ballpark of about $11,000 for this thing right here. So up next is this right here, the Kenevo SL first generation. This is also Dersey's bike, and in my opinion, this is probably my favorite looking bike that we have. I just love the triangular design. I know that this paint job was super controversial when it came out, but I actually really like it. I like how it's a hard cut and it's two different tones of gray. It's a full 29er. It's got 170 front, 170 rear. Obviously, it's meant to take more hits. Overall, this thing is completely stock. My brother's never really upgraded anything on this thing. I think the only thing he did was change the bars at some point. We've got the stock bars back on, and this thing, if you were to buy it brand new back in 2022 when this came out, it would be $11,000. So we actually have another e-bike, but I don't have it here to show you, so I'll put a picture of it on the screen right here. It is our Turbo Levo, the one from back in the day, the black one. I'm sure you guys remember it. It's been in a ton of different videos, but I don't have it here anymore, and that's because I gave it to my dad. So it's over at my parents' house. I don't want to bother them with this video, so yeah, here it is. And that thing was like, what, like 8,000 when we got it? Now let's do trail bikes. And up first is this, the Stumpjumper LTD. And this is, funny enough, the second rarest bike that I have. I'll show you guys the rarest one later. But for now, let's talk about this. It's the LTD, so Specialized only made limited numbers of this bike. It's special because it comes with a very unique paint job. It's like a white, flake chrome color. It's super cool. It's got carbon wheels on it with our 27.5 in the rear, 29 up front. I upgraded the wheels. I also upgraded the bars. It's got the fancy RockShox suspension on it. This thing is amazing. It's super light. It's probably mid-20s for this thing. And as a trail bike, that's amazing. It's got a small amount of travel. It's like 130, 140, I think. So I barely ever really use it, to be honest. I love it though. Whenever I do ride it, it rides amazing, but it's by far the least used bike, which is why it's the cleanest bike that I have. So if you were to buy one of these in, I think it was 2023 or 2024 when this bike came out, they were around $5 or $6 grand. I've done about another 1,000 or so in upgrades to this thing. So let's call this thing 6,500. Now up next is this, the light green Stump Jumper Evo. And I absolutely love this bike. The Stump Jumper Evo platform, in my opinion, is the best stump jumper they ever made. It's just so versatile. It can hit anything from like a BMX park, dirt jumps, to downhill trails, to cross-country ride, to a trail ride. Whatever you want to do with this bike, it can do it. That's why I just love this thing. It feels so good. I know the 15 just came out. That's an amazing bike. That thing changes the game. But this right here, this is the one for me. When you could get this bike back in 2024, I think it was, they're out of production now. You could still kind of get them new, but this thing, MSRP was $6,300. Now this, the brand new Stump Jumper 15. This is the newest bike we have. It's also the trail bike that I ride the most, as you can tell by all the mud and stuff that's on it. I barely ever wash this thing. I should wash it and care for it way more than I do. But this thing is epic. I love the way this thing rides. It's basically completely bone stock. The only thing I've really changed is the bar and stem. I've put obviously thicker tires on it, cush core, stuff like that, and that's basically it. I mean, this thing from factory, straight out the box, not really much I needed to change. I mean, let's be honest, like a lot of the times you guys see that I change the fork or this or that or whatever. This thing from factory came basically perfect for me. Just little things here and there. It was solid. So I love this thing. It's amazing. You know, nowadays, you know, you can get these brand new still. So the MSRP is still relevant to today's day and age. As well, I don't know, what is it? We're in 2025, right? Yeah, I think so. I don't even know what year it is half the time. But this thing, if you were to walk into a dealership today and buy one, it would cost you $6,500. So I'm realizing that we still have a lot of bikes to get through, so I'm gonna do a speed run on this. So both of these Stump Jumper Evos are my brother Jersey's, and you're wondering why he has two Stump Jumper Evos. I'm wondering the same exact thing right now as well. But anyway, this one on my left right here, this is start off as a frame. We built it up with a bunch of parts we had laying around. If you were to do everything from factory, MSRP, probably like $4 grand for this one right over here. The one on my right, this one is super, super nice. This is actually the bike that Jersey rides the most when it comes to trail bikes. Got the Fox Transfer Sea Dropper, the brand new Fox Gold Kashima, which this thing looks so sick, dude. This is probably the coolest colored bike that we have on the whole entire fleet. Overall, I mean, I think with all the upgrades, it's about $6,300 for the base bike. Plus we did like, I don't know, probably like another $2,000 or $2,000 in upgrades for it. So you're looking at like, if MSRP on this thing is about $7 grand. Wait, no, I just realized that I can't actually do math. This is why I literally got D's and F's in math my whole entire life. 6,300 plus 2,000 is not $7,000. So this is realistically closer to $8,000. Also guys, right now, hit the subscribe button. Just freaking do it. We're on the way to 1 million subscribers. I cannot believe I'm even saying that, but help us out. We're gonna try to get there by the end of the year. Hit that subscribe right now, like the video. All right, back to the video. Now, let's check out long travel bikes. Up first, this is my Enduro. Now this thing is the furthest thing from stock that I have for a bike, because I don't even know where we're gonna start with pricing this thing out, but this thing is amazing. If you ever see me riding super hardcore trails, downhill parks, whatever, chances are I'm riding this thing. I adore this thing. It gets beaten up by far the most out of any bike that we have. The base of it is a specialized Enduro Expert, which starts at around $7,000, but we've basically upgraded everything on this bike. You know, different wheels, tires. The fork up front is the Fox Factory Gold fork. We've got the Fox, you know, X2 rear shock, the factory one. We've got TRP brakes, gold matching to match the bike. Even on the brakes, the TRP brakes, Freedom Coast made me custom levers for this thing. And Freedom Coast, if you guys know, is kind of the same company as Better Bolts. And with Better Bolts, I've got the full Better Bolts linkage kit on here. So it's like, it's just such a unique bike. If I were to summarize how much this thing costs, like $7,000 for the base plus another few thousand in components. This thing's probably, I don't know, what do you think, like around $10,000? I would say, let's just say 10,000, because it's hard. I don't even know where to even start with this one. And then this is the other Enduro that I have. And this is also really custom, but really weird at the same time, because I've labeled this thing the Slope Duro. So it's supposed to be kind of like a slope free ride Enduro type bike. I did a custom paint job for it. It's a single speed. It's got custom wheels. It's got full Marzocchi suspension, bar and stem custom. It's missing a few things. It's missing some brakes right now, and it needs a tune up and a clean and just overall some care. But this thing is legit. I've got also the Better Bolts hardware kit on this, except this time it's in gold. And this thing, I love this bike. For as weird as this thing is, I actually really like the thing. So if I were to put a price on this, I don't know, maybe like 5 grand, maybe. And then we have this, the demo race. Now this thing is sweet. I don't ride this thing enough. That's the biggest problem. Durzy mostly rides this bike, so right now it's currently set up for him, but I absolutely love this thing. It's also, fun fact, it's the most purple bike that we have. So there you go. Now this thing from factory comes, you know, with the Öhlins front and rear. So we've obviously changed that up. We put the Fox 40 up front, and this has the new Grip X2 damper. This is the newest Fox 40 you can get. Oh, that's all I have to say. It's phenomenal. I love this fork. We've got the upgraded X2 in the rear as well. I did an air shock in the rear because, you know, it's me. So if I want to set the bike up for myself, I need to have more PSI than a coil can offer. So that's really what we're left with. But that shock works really well. If you want to put an X2 rear shock in your Enduro or your demo, you can do it. It's possible. Just know that you're going to have to finesse it a little bit, but it works. But overall, yeah, so $7,000 base for the bike with our upgrades. I would say probably what, $8,000? I think that's pretty fair. $8,000 for this. So I think what we're at like 13 bikes so far. Dude, this is so dumb, dude. Why do we have so many bikes? And we're not even done yet. There's still a bunch more bikes. I'm gonna do a speed run because this video is gonna go on for hours if I keep on giving you details. So let's go over there. Let's go around the corner and let me just give you guys a speed run of everything else we have left. And I actually completely forgot about another bike. If you guys know Matt, he's been in a couple of the videos. He has a bike at his house that he uses. It's an Enduro. I think it's the Enduro Expert, right? Yeah. That's the brown one that used to be Durzy's. We gave it to him. He's, you know, he's part of the business, so he needs a bike as well. That's like what? MSRP for those is like 7 grand, I think. Yeah, so there's another 7 grand for it. So this right here, it's the Specialized P4 dirt jumper. This thing is pretty cool. It's actually super unique because it's 27.5 front and rear wheel, which is like, I don't really know if there's that many dirt jumpers on the market that are like that. It's pretty sick. We've done some upgrades to it, and we haven't ridden it too much, which is why it's super clean still. But this summer, we're definitely gonna be riding this at the jump parks more often. I would say probably this is what, 2 grand for one of these? Yeah, about $2,000. And then over here, if I step over, oh God, a lot of the bikes, we've got check this out. We've got a couple ones over here. Let me just, please excuse the mess. It's winter right now. It doesn't look like it because I'm wearing t-shirt and shorts. I promise. Look, there's snow. If you zoom in all the way up there, look at those mountains. See, there's snow. There's snow. I promise it's winter right now, but it's just really warm for whatever reason. We've got this over here. This you guys have seen in a few videos. It's the Specialized Rock Hopper. This is from like the 80s? 90s? I don't know. It's sick though. I'm gonna keep this thing for around. A friend gave it to me, so this is a rather special bike. And then if I put this to the side, we've got one of the OG bikes. If you guys have been watching the channel for a long time, you know about this bike right here. Oh. Okay, hold on, one sec. This is the custom painted Status 160. It's obviously like not fully complete. It needs brakes and it's really dirty and it's been sitting out in the cold for the last like, I don't know how many years now, but this thing is pretty sick. It's been around for a very long time. The frame was painted by Technar, so it's a full custom paint job. This was the first slope Duro bike that I built, but over the years, I've kind of just stopped using it and it's sat out here. If you were to buy this thing new, I think they were like $2,500 from Specialized new, or $3,000, something like that. Let's just say 25, but it's also hard to tell because it's like custom paint job, who really knows? And then in here, we have the really, really special stuff. As you can tell, we have decided to put it out in the backyard. Get this crap out. If you look at this. This is the void. This is the shed of no return right here. We've got a bunch of random parts and stuff. Underneath here, you can see there's the remnants. You see the frame right here? There's the remnants of the OG YT Capra, the blue YT Capra. You guys will remember that. If you've been around for a very long time, since the beginning, that was the first normal MTBer bike right there. That was the bike that started this whole channel, so I couldn't get rid of it. How much is it worth? I don't know. I mean, back in the day, it was like $3 grand for one of those, you know, and obviously it's nowhere remotely close. It's in parts right now. It's just a frame. I have all the parts. So if we were to hypothetically say that it was built up and still perfect and brand new, it's like $3,000. But I told you guys earlier that I had a bike that was super rare, like the rarest bike that I own. And that is right over here. Look at this. Right there. See that? It says Kona on there. That blue frame. I'm not gonna dig it out because that's it. I mean, I don't really want to dig it out, so I'll put some pictures on the screen here of the bike. It's a Kona Stab Supreme World Cup edition. So it's basically like back in the early 2000s, like Kona was one of the top companies, you know, if you guys have been around for a long time, like top companies, and that was actually my first proper downhill bike ever. Like that was the first downhill bike I ever had after I got a demo and went from there, but that was the bike that kind of got me into downhill racing. How much is it worth though? Dude, I don't even know, man. Like those are really hard to tell. I'm just gonna say $1,000, but honestly, it's worth so much more sentimentally to me that you can't really put a price on a bike like that. And then lastly, we gotta come into the garage because there's a couple frames in here I wanna show you guys as well. And just don't look at the mess in here. It's a disaster. We've been working on bikes the last few days. It's usually not this messy, so forgive me. First bike up here, you guys will remember this. The white Enduro. Now it's obviously just a frame right now. I have all the parts still, so I could build it up if I wanted to theoretically. But this thing is the most viral bike that we had. The biggest video we ever did, which was a seat dropper video. I'll put it up on the screen right here. If you guys saw that video, this was the bike in that video. So I had to prop it up, you know, put it up on the shelf so we could see it at all times. Like we have to pay tribute to, you know, where it's due, right? Other than that, we have one other bike. This is the last one I'll show you guys, is up there. You're probably gonna have to zoom in. You see a bike back behind the helmets. That's the that's the other stump jumper Evo I have. Obviously it's a frame right now. I have all the parts. I just got to build that thing up. I just haven't had time to, but that thing, if I were to put a price on it, those are probably like $3 for one of those. The Enduro, back when I got the Enduro, that thing was what, $6? I think $6. So $3, $6. Man, I'm sure there's another frame somewhere that I'm forgetting. Oh, that's right, there's another frame. We have also another Enduro frame. I forgot, we have the blue Enduro frame too. I forgot about that. I think those are like $2 for the frame. But yeah, that's it. I mean, am I forgetting anything else? Your old status, that's right. Jersey has another status too. He has his pink status. I don't know, I might have a picture. If I have a picture, I'll put it up on the frame. But that one, that's also like $3 for those when they were new. Obviously not worth that much now. We added up all the costs to every bike that we have, and this is, I'm like, this is not okay, dude. Because first of all, before I tell you guys the number, like I am well aware that this is a very privileged position to be in. I'm not sitting here not knowing that fact. And obviously a lot of these bikes, the majority of these bikes came from sponsorship deals and so on and so forth. So we didn't pay for a lot of these bikes. It was all part of contracts and stuff like that. So you have to factor kind of all that in. They weren't given to us for free, even though technically it was for free. We did have to work for these bikes, so it wasn't like, here's the bike, have fun, you know, none of that. There's a whole thing. I can go through that in another video with you guys if you guys want. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do something like that. But if you tally up all the bikes, and it's, let me see, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so 20 bikes. If you tally up all 20 bikes, the value comes out to $132,500. This is kind of disgusting. I'm almost feeling a little nauseous thinking about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Subscribe if you have not already. Help us get to 1 million subscribers this year. Our goal is 1 million by the end of the year, so help us out. Go down there, hit subscribe, like the video, and I will see you guys on the next one.